When you think of the Oregon Trail, what comes to mind? Probably grand adventures, right? Brave pioneers conquering the West. But that Hollywood version, it's a world away from the truth. So today, we're going to strip all of that away. We're going to get to the brutal, grueling, and honestly, the incredibly human reality of one of the biggest migrations in history. So, yeah, we've all seen this story on the left, right? The grand adventure. But the reality was this on the right. This was not a journey of glory. We're talking about a 2,000-mile slog through knee-deep mud with swarms of mosquitoes and deadly diseases like dysentery just everywhere. For most folks, it was pure, unfiltered misery. And the scale here, it's just staggering. I mean, this wasn't some little expedition. 500,000 people, 500,000, looked at a journey that was basically guaranteed misery and said, yep, sign me up. And that just begs the question, right? Why? What on earth could possibly be worth all that suffering? Okay, so to really get it, let's zoom in on one family's story. Let's meet Thomas Benton. His family, like so many others, was completely hooked by a promise. A promise that was so powerful, they were willing to risk absolutely everything for it. And here it is. This was the promise. 160 acres of free land. Now, you got to understand, for a family like Thomas's, who probably spent their whole lives working a tiny plot of land that they didn't even own, this was everything. It wasn't just dirt. It was the dream of independence. It was the chance to build something that was finally truly theirs. So, April 1847. The decision is made. They sell pretty much everything they own. Imagine that. Your whole world, everything you've built, packed into one small farm wagon. And then you just leave. You turn your back on the only home you've ever known forever. There's absolutely no going back from that. So what was the journey actually like? Well, it was this brutal mix of mind-numbing boredom and moments of pure terror. Think about it. Every single day was a grind, but disaster was always, always hiding just around the corner or, right under the next wagon wheel. Just look at this daily schedule. It was absolutely relentless. You're up at 4 a.m., you're walking by 7, you don't stop till 5 in the evening. Then you make camp, probably just collapse from exhaustion, and guess what? You do it all over again the next day, and the next, and the next, for 6 months straight. Can you even imagine the toll that takes physically and mentally? And yeah, if the sheer monotony didn't get you, one of these dangers was always waiting. Forget the dramatic shootouts you see in the movies. The real killers were way more mundane and way more terrifying. Getting crushed by a wagon wheel, getting caught in a prairie storm that turns the whole world to mud, or disease, measles, cholera, that could just rip through a wagon train in a matter of days. And then there were the river crossings. So let's paint a picture here. Imagine this. The Jenkins family, they're neighbors of Thomas. They're trying to get across this swollen, angry river on a raft they just threw together with logs. The current is raging. And then, all of a sudden, one of those logs shifts. The whole raft just tilts violently, and the wagon with everything they own in the world, it slides right off and crashes into the freezing water. Just like that. It's instant chaos. People are in the water, their life savings just gone. But then a small hand breaks the surface. It's little Emma Jenkins. And without even thinking, Thomas dives in. And this right here, this is so important. Survival on the trail wasn't just about how tough you were. It was about this kind of communal bravery. You risked your life for your neighbor because you knew deep down that tomorrow it could be you who needed saving. But it wasn't all darkness and despair. It's amazing, really. In the face of all this incredible hardship, people still found ways to be, people. After a truly miserable day of walking, someone would pull out a fiddle. An impromptu dance might break out. And for just a little while, they weren't just struggling pioneers. They were a community, celebrating being alive under this huge prairie sky. But the journey's biggest, most brutal test, that was still ahead. Months into this thing, they're exhausted, supplies are getting dangerously low, and Thomas's wagon train finally makes it to the Blue Mountains. And then it starts to snow. Way, way too early in the season. And it doesn't just snow a little bit. It doesn't stop. Pretty soon, they are trapped.
2 feet of snow and it's piling higher every single day. They are completely and utterly stuck. The trail is gone, and their oxen, the animals that are literally their lifeline, they're starting to starve.
So, okay, really try to put yourself in their shoes for a second. The food is almost gone. The kids, like Thomas's little sister Sarah, they're getting weaker. The closest help is on the other side of those mountains. If you stay put, you starve. If you try to move, well, that seems impossible. What do you do? I mean, really, what do you do? They make an absolutely desperate choice. They decide to split the train. The plan is an advance party, the strongest folks with the healthiest animals, they're going to push ahead through the snow, try to break a trail, and send back help. Everyone else, the weakest, the sick, they stay behind. They'll make a winter camp and try to make their tiny amount of supplies last. They're just hoping rescue gets there in time. It's a massive gamble, and both groups could easily lose everything.
And believe it or not, a rescue party does make it back. It's some of the men from that advanced group. But this isn't the happy ending yet. Not even close. Getting everyone out is going to be the final brutal push. The danger is far, far from over. I mean, look at what they still had to face. First, they have to get the rest of the wagons through those snow-choked mountains. Then, when they finally get to the massive Columbia River, they can't even cross it. They have to literally take their wagons apart, piece by piece, and build rafts to try and get down these insane, treacherous rapids. The hardship just did not stop right up to the very, very end. And when they finally arrive in Oregon City, it's not some paradise. There are no finished houses and perfectly plowed fields waiting for them. It's a rough, crude little settlement. So this isn't the end of their struggle. It's just another really difficult beginning. But it is a beginning. It's a chance. And that brings us all the way back to our first question. After everything we've just talked about, all the loss, all the suffering, the sheer misery, was it worth it? Well, here's the reward. Thomas's family, they secure a claim for 640 acres in the Willamette Valley. 640. To put that in perspective, this was a legacy that was just completely impossible for them back home in Missouri. This was the promise finally made real. But I think the real answer, the one that really hits home, comes from Thomas's little sister, Sarah, the one who got sick in the mountains. After surviving all of that, she stands on their new land, she looks out at this valley, and she just says, it was worth it. Everything. And that really leaves us with one last thought, doesn't it? The people who traveled the Oregon Trail, they weren't superheroes. They were just ordinary people, driven by this incredible hope for a new start. And it kind of makes you wonder, for us, in our lives today, what new beginning would you risk it all for?